we got fucking Roy Nelson versus Mirko Cro-cop on Bellator 216. I'm just saying, Bellator 216 is a very good fight card. A very good fight card. For Bellator, that is. In terms of Bellator, it's normally main event heavy. You know, it's just the main event and then everything else of it is just fucking garbage. But this card is saucy. Very saucy. Bellator 216, you got Michael Page versus Paul Daley, Chuck Congo versus Vitaly Minakov, you got Mirko Cro-cop versus Roy Nelson, Eric Silva versus someone's name, Valerie Loreda versus Colby. Actually, I should have stopped before then, because who the fuck cares? The top three names are good, and you've got Eric Silva, so half of the fourth fight down. Very good fight. Very good fight. I don't know if you guys know this, but Mirko Cro-cop is on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 win streak. I didn't know that. I haven't been paying attention to Mirko Cro-cop's career since he left the UFC, if I'm honest with you. Haven't been paying attention at all. They tried to make this fight earlier. It's the rematch between Mirko Cro-cop versus Roy Big Fat Fuck Nelson. And we're going to see what happens, guys. If you remember in the first fight, Mirko Cro-cop had him hurt badly. And then Roy Nelson came back, put him in a crucifix, and just sort of sat on him on the floor and stuck that fucking huge belly in the face. There's something to be said about fat wrestlers, guys. I know you think, oh, it's bad to be fat, but it's localized weight. And what I mean by that is, these lean guys that are taking you down, these big lean wrestlers, they're taking you, that's why big tall guys aren't the best wrestlers in the UFC. If you normally look at a wrestler, he's normally short and sort of stocky. I know Roy Nelson isn't exactly stocky, he's just a fat fuck. I've also been really confused. How is Roy Nelson a fat fuck? I don't understand that. He's a fucking big fat fuck and he has a massive gut. He trains MMA for a career. How much do you have to be eating? If you're training to go 5 rounds or 3 rounds, however long he's training to go, and you train for your career, at least maybe 6 hours a day you're training, how are you overweight? I've never understood that. He must not take... imagine Roy Nelson at welterweight. He could make welterweight, guys. I know you're thinking, no, he can make welterweight. I guarantee you, if Roy Nelson was traded, he could make welterweight, and he'd be putting guys to sleep. But no, he's a dumb redneck fuck. Nothing against Roy Nelson. I actually kind of like him, but he is fat. I just have to point that out. He's come off a few losses recently. He had a loss to Matt Mitrione. He had a loss to Sergey Kharitonov, which, to be fair, isn't much of it, because Roy Nelson's obviously over the hill. He's an older guy. Sergey Kharitonov is a beast in Bellator, so losing to him, it doesn't really mean much to me. Obviously, he's lost to Alexander Volkov in the UFC, left the UFC because his contract was over, moved over to Bellator. Very interesting move. And now we've got Mirko Cro-cop versus Roy Nelson. I feel like Cro-cop's going to get it done. However, I just feel like he wants it a bit more. I mean, I'm looking at this 9 win streak that he's been on over in Rising, and it just seems to me that he's still got the love for the game. I feel like Roy Nelson hasn't got the love for the game anymore. I mean, there was the loss to Matt Mitrione, which was kind of controversial in the heavyweight Grand Prix. Most people thought Matt Mitrione won. No, most people thought Roy Nelson won. Some people thought Matt Mitrione won. He got a majority decision. One person... I thought it was a draw. I thought you give the first 2 rounds closely to Matt Mitrione, 10-9, and then you give that last round to Roy Nelson, because if you remember, Roy Nelson was just fucking snorlaxing him the whole time, laying on top of him. Imagine Roy Nelson laying on top of you guys. Fucking hell, that is a terrifying thing to think about. I feel like Mirko Cro-cop's going to get it done. He was able to hurt him the first fight. He's riding high. However, Roy Nelson is going to want to wrestle here. He is going to want to wrestle, because obviously when you're on the feet with Mirko Cro-cop, it's dangerous, even though Roy Nelson can knock him out. I feel like Roy Nelson's going to want to wrestle here, and to second that, he definitely is, because Mirko Cro-cop's coming up an ACL injury. That's what he's coming off of. That's why he's been off for a while. And that's why the first fight between them couldn't happen. It's rough. They were supposed to fight at Bellator London, if you remember. He tore his ACL. He's back now. He feels better. I've seen an interview of him. He's saying he's feeling good. He's feeling this. He's feeling that. I think these guys know that in the heavyweight division of Bellator, towards the end of their career, this is their time to make money. Bellator is paying these guys good money. I don't know if you guys know that. They're getting a good 300 grand flat for their fights in the heavyweight division, especially these big names. So, yeah, I look forward to it. I think Mirko Cro-cop's going to finish him, though. I think he's going to knock him out. You've seen over time that iron chin of Roy Nelson is kind of starting to fade a little bit. And I know it's hard to say, but I feel like Mark Hunt took his virginity in terms of being KO'd. Completely took his virginity. And I don't know. I just feel like Mirko Cro-cop's going to finish him. I don't know why. I think he hurt him in the first fight, and I think this time he's going to hurt him. He's going to be a bit more patient, and he's going to get the finish, perhaps. I don't know. I just feel like there's only so long you can have an iron chin for. Obviously, Mirko Cro-cop can easily be knocked out by Roy Nelson. Anyone fucking can. But I feel like Mirko is in a state of his career right. Roy Nelson seems like he's in a moment of his career where I don't even know if he wants it anymore. You know, I think he's just a fat cunt that wants to get paid at the end of his career. I mean, you listen to him talk sometimes and he's not the smartest of guys. And I feel like when you're looking at Mirko Cro-cop, he's gone to Rise and he's fought 9 times. He's won 9 times in Rising. So, I mean, you have to look at that. You have to look at that. You really do. I mean, he's jumped around between organisations, to be fair. He fought for IGF in 2014, and in 2015 he got the win over Gabriel Gonzaga, if you guys remember. He finished him on the ground with elbows. Brutal elbows. He was elbowing him to the body and shit like that. And then he moved over to Rising, obviously, because UFC is the biggest organisation in the world. UFC is the biggest organisation in the world, yet for all of these guys, other organisations pay more. I know it's because UFC spreads their money out equally to some fighters, to an extent that is. But I feel like it's weird that Bellator is able to give these guys more money than they were earning in the UFC. However, it makes sense because Bellator doesn't have as many stars as the UFC, so the stars that they do have, they can afford to compensate, if you know what I mean. So yeah, very strange. He also beat Mohamed Lawal. King Mo, isn't it? Is that who Mohamed Lawal is? King Mo? I'm pretty sure it is. Yes, it is. He finished him. Okay, I'm going to give it to Mirko Cro-cop. This is going to be a fight I'm enjoying. I'll just enjoy to watch. This is just a pure relaxing fight. I will be streaming Bellator 216 live Fight Companion. I'll also be streaming. I've gotten off work on Monday by working yesterday for double hours, so I can do the Francis Ngannou ESPN card. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That's a great Bellator card, man. Great Bellator card. I'll probably only be streaming the main event, but you know, fuck it. Good night of fights. Good night of fights. I can't wait. I'm gonna burp. Okay, I'm going to go now, guys. I'll see you later. Like and subscribe. Roy Nelson's fat.